I moved into that apartment in Indianapolis in early spring. The snow was almost gone, and there was that distinctive damp smell in the air, a mixture of wet asphalt, rotting leaves, and old mold that winter hadn't quite quelled. I had just broken up with a girl. Hard, long, and I needed a fresh start. At least a fresh start. The apartment was small. One bedroom, third floor. Nothing fancy. But it was mine. Rent was cheap. The house was old. But there was something real about it. The worn steps, the peeling paint, the slight creak of the floorboards. It was oddly comforting. My only neighbor lived below me. Apartment 2B. I didn't meet him the day I moved in. Didn't see him at all for the first week. But I heard him. Every night. The first time was about 3:30. I was just starting to fall asleep when I heard footsteps. Not normal footsteps. Slow, like dragging, like someone was walking barefoot on the tiles right under me. And then there was a thud. One, like something heavy falling. And then silence. I came down in the afternoon, about 1:30. First, I listened at the door. Silence. Then I knocked. Once. I waited. No one answered. I stood there for a couple seconds and knocked again. Harder. Same result. Not a sound. Not even a creak on the floor inside. The door looked like it hadn't been opened in a long time. Dust on the threshold. Peeling paint in the corners. Some cobwebs in the top corner of the jamb. I thought maybe he'd moved out. But then, who goes out at night? Next to the door was an old rug with "Welcome" written on it. Shabby, faded. I moved it slightly sideways with my foot. Underneath it was a key. Old, rusty, not like a modern door. I didn't take it. I just looked at it. I put the mat back. I walked around the rest of the day with a strange feeling. Like I'd done something wrong just by knocking. Like I'd disturbed something I didn't want to see. And that night, it happened again. The footsteps. The knocking. Only this time, I heard something else. It was like someone was slowly moving a chair. On the tile. A grinding sound, like metal on stone. It was short but distinct. And right after that, it was like someone exhaled. Long, heavy. I barely slept until the wee hours of the morning. The next day, I met an elderly woman on the stairs. She was walking slowly, carrying her bags, as if she had lived in the house for a long time. I asked her about the neighbor in 2B. She replied that a man lived there, but she hadn't seen him in a long time. It had been years. I told her that at night, I hear footsteps and knocks from downstairs. She nodded. She said she'd been hearing them for years. Then she said it was best not to go up there and try to find out what was going on. That was the advice. She left, leaving me alone in the hallway. Suddenly, the house felt foreign and cold. Everything familiar. The old walls, the stairs, the smell of dust turned into something threatening. I went back to my room, lay down on my bed and stared up at the ceiling, where the neighbor's apartment was. And I thought, while I was lying there, someone could be right above me, listening. During the night, the footsteps became even more distinct. They didn't just sound. It was as if they were approaching my apartment. First in the kitchen, then in the hallway. I lay in the dark and tried not to breathe too loudly. One day, I heard someone slowly move a chair. The sound of tiles creaking, metal clanking. It was very quiet, but I couldn't help but notice. Then a long, heavy sigh followed. I sat on the bed, feeling a chill creep up my spine. The days passed, but the sounds didn't disappear at night. They had become part of my routine, like a clock ticking in an empty room. I had given up hoping it would end soon, but I was afraid to even think what it might mean. One evening, coming home, I noticed a housing and utilities service car at the entrance to the building. Two men were talking at the door, discussing something on the phone. I decided to see if either of them knew anything about the neighbors. One of them told me that apartment 2B had been empty for a long time. The last tenant moved out a few months ago, but periodically, someone checks the premises. The management company has the keys. That surprised me. If no one is there, why do I hear footsteps at night? Why don't the sounds stop? It got me thinking about how reality may not be as simple as it seems. Sometimes the sounds are just sounds, but sometimes they are something else. I went home and closed the door behind me and lay down again, listening to the silence, which is never really silence. The following nights passed with no obvious footsteps, but the feeling of presence did not go away. I often woke up as if someone was watching me. One morning, I noticed a strange spot on the stairs, cold, wet. It was on the step right in front of my apartment. I touched it. It wasn't wet, more like cool, like metal. I didn't know what it could be, but the feeling of unease increased. Trying to distract myself, I started spending more time outside. But there were still sounds waiting for me at home. Sometimes I would hear something scraping slowly across the tiles. Sometimes, quiet footsteps that stopped right below me. This had been going on for weeks. I was beginning to wonder if I should stay here any longer. I hardly slept that night. My heart beat faster and faster with every rustle. I lay still, trying not to make a sound. Footsteps came again, slow, quiet, as if someone were creeping through the darkness. They traveled down the hallway, stopping under my door. I didn't dare move, didn't dare even breathe. Suddenly, everything went quiet. A long, crushing silence, as if the whole house held its breath with me. The morning came without any sound. I opened my eyes and felt relieved for the first time in days. But the feeling that something was still here, close by, never left me. It was as if the walls of the house still held something that shouldn't be disturbed. I packed my things and left. The apartment stayed with me, and its secrets too.